even your most conservative estimates are probably not going to hit your targets. Okay, like let's say first year in service-based business, and you're trying to do, by the end of the year, you're trying to get up to $6,000 a month. Double or triple the amount of work you think you're going to have, because the conversion rate's always going to be lower online than people tell you. You're going to get way less clients than you think. You're going to get clients fall out. You're going to get clients not pay. You're going to have refunds. You're going to get all kinds of things. So again, make sure that you don't bet on anything until it's closed, and that you're super pragmatic about it. Almost not quite pessimistic. Like, you have a super optimistic vision, but like, I never get excited about a deal, or when I used to do deals, until it's actually in my hand. I'll just be like, well, they said it's going to go down, but like, let's not put too much weight on that. All right. So that is getting and keeping clients and customers. Again, there's a ton more, and it's all about sales, how to sell, how to get customers. Again, you can check out my free series, Definitive Guide to Sales. You can check out my book, How to Sell, on how to do that. So next point, this is the second last section, is getting investment. Okay, again, this applies primarily to exceptional guys who are trying to make it happen in a startup, or guys who maybe aren't the 160 IQ rock stars, but you've got some other business where there might be investment involved, like an e-commerce business, where you might want to sell your site. But if you're doing what I said, you're doing a service business, chances are no one's going to want to buy your personal trainer business, because it's all based around you. You're not replaceable. But for guys who are exceptional, this is stuff that I learned from dealing with venture capitalists in my tech business, and it also applies somewhat to your e-commerce business. Okay, so the first thing you need to understand in getting investment is investors don't care about your business until you have traction. That's something that took us 6 months to learn, because our accelerator, like I mentioned in part 1, I didn't have a good experience at our accelerator. Our accelerator had us running around like retards, selling our company to every single VC in Toronto. And it took us 6 months of like going around to companies to where I finally sat down, and we're just getting like no's and maybes. And I was like, what are you guys looking for? What's the venture capitalist, what's the angel investor looking for? And the guy just told us, he's like, we don't care about companies until they're doing 25 grand in revenue. And I went to my man Zach. I was like, dude, we just waited like 6 months, right? They don't care unless we're making 25 grand in revenue and growing. Okay, they want to see what's called the hockey stick traction, which is like you're starting off slow, you're growing, and then they start to see a massive spike. So they want to get in when there's that massive spike. They're like, okay, these guys are proven. The massive spike is coming, and we want to get in just at the ground floor as they're blowing up, and just sort of like, yeah, boys, we'll hop on board. Great work. Let us get in here now. And when we're just doing over here, they're like, yeah, we don't give a fuck about you, because we have a lot of money. Everyone wants our money, and we have our pick, right? So they want to see. They don't care about your dreams. They don't care what you're gonna do. They want to see hard evidence first. They have a ton of options. Basically, they want something for nothing. They want blue sky and no risk, and they can afford to do that because everyone wants their money. Of course, there are exceptions. Businesses like Twitter and Facebook, where they were able to sell into investors without revenue, but they were selling another form of traction, which was subscriber traction. Okay, so not revenue traction, but they were able to sell like, look at our user base. We've gone from 1,000 users to 10,000 to 100,000 to 1 million. And, if you're the next Snapchat, right, you can sell hockey stick traction on your subscriber base. Okay, it's not as exciting to a VC as revenue, but it's the next best thing, especially if they're seeing like a huge hockey stick traction. Okay, but again, guys, for that type of business, I really think you got to be that 160 IQ rockstar programmer. All right, I don't have any business being involved in a tech startup, because I'm just not smart enough. Next point is, when you have traction, this is the ironic thing. When you have traction, you don't need investors. Okay, you don't need them. But the ironic thing is, if you have 25K a month in revenue, and you've scaled up to that in a year, and you're scaling up quick with hockey stick traction, and the next month's going to be 40K in revenue, you don't need investors, because you can fund your own marketing campaigns. You can fund $30,000 a month and throw that into marketing and really blow it up. So that's the funny thing. And so what it comes down to again is if you are doing the startup or you're looking to be in a business where you want to sell it, maybe in e-commerce, comes back to what I said in getting and keeping clients, which is priority number 2 and 3 of getting revenue. When you have revenue, you have a business, you have money to fund your own marketing. You don't need investors. You don't need to beg investors to get them to buy you marketing. And at that point, investors are going to be coming to you. I mean, it's going to be a really, really easy sell to get in a room with a bunch of VCs when you say, hey, we've been operational for 6 months and we've got 25 grand a month in traction and it's only growing. Or, maybe your e-commerce store is doing 10 grand a month and you wanted to sell it to some guy for 60 grand or whatever. Very easy to get that meeting. But I suggest if you're doing a startup, you get your money up before you even bother talking with investors. I mean, we spent so much time putting these deals together and putting pitches and putting prospectuses together, and it was just a total waste of time. What we should have done was just spent that 6 months just getting revenue up, and not only would we have a way better chance of getting investors, but we could also not have investors and just do it all ourselves because the investors are going to want a percentage. But also, if you do get investment, you have a way, way, way better bargaining chip. Like, let's say, the off chance you got investors when you don't have any revenue. Well, they're going to want way more of your company. They're going to want way more control, and they're going to invest way less money than if you're coming at them with 25K a month in revenue. Now you're valuable. Now you're the hot girl. Now they're chasing you. Now there's a bidding war, right? As opposed to like, please, please, please give us money. We don't have anything. Please give us money, right? Then, when you're the beggar, when you're the hot girl, it's like now you have all the money. You're like, well, no, you're not getting that much of our company, and you actually have to invest a lot more than what you want. And if you don't want it, that's okay. The venture capitalist next door, we can go over them because we've been talking with them too. All right, so that's something to understand. Last point on getting investment is get that government money, dude. Okay, in most Western companies, there are a ton of loans and grants for entrepreneurs, especially tech entrepreneurs. We had every one of them in Toronto. We got all of them, okay? Take advantage of it by getting as many grants and loans as you can get. If it's a service-based business, you're probably not going to be able to get too much, but you might be able to get some. I'm not sure, depending on where you are. But, get as many of those grants and loans. I'm not talking about loans where you have to pay them back. Okay, like a lot. I mean, get the grants. Okay, you can get you might, for a tech business, you can get probably like 25, 30 grand because government wants tech businesses, right? So they'll happily give you the grant. You just have to be prepared to fill out a lot of paperwork. This is something that was actually helpful at the accelerator. They helped us with that stuff, but at the end of the day, you don't need the accelerator to do it. You just need to find a list of all the grants in your province or your city or your state. Go after all of them and really be serious about the paperwork and plan on waiting like 6 months to a year because dealing with the government is a nightmare to get. But I mean, you could get 30, 40 grand in free money that you don't have to pay back, or, all kinds of other things. So go give me that if you can. Yeah, dig. Finally, we're coming to the last section, which is going to be how to handle obstacles. And this is psychological. And this might be the most important thing of the whole series, okay? Because, it's like a prize fighter. Like they say, a champion boxer is 90% psychological, 10% physical. And I feel like succeeding in business is 90% psychological, 10%, all the other stuff, assuming you chose the right business. The first thing to do in handling obstacles is don't quit, dude. Okay, I was reading some stats. It's like 50% of people quit after the first business that fails, 75% after the second, 90% after the third, and on average, 90% of all businesses fail. Okay, so the person who gets into that first business probably going to fail because they're not watching my video and don't know to start the right business, and they're all fucked up because they're reading entrepreneur porn or they're buying some fucking stupid Subway franchise, and then they're done. Okay, and this is what it is. The people who power through failure get all the money. Okay, the 10% of guys who succeed in business are the guys who get rich, who get all the money. Everyone else has to go back to settling for mediocre jobs and settling for mediocre money and working for a company and getting the table scraps of what the owner decides to give them, or the owner's making $10 million a month and he's like, here's your 40,000, because that owner just fucking powered through and didn't quit no matter what happened. It's that simple. So